In this video, we are going to talk about a different topic. I'm going to tell you what I think are the 5 things that every man needs to go through to actually become a full grown ass adult man. Right? So these 5 things are: first, falling in love with somebody and actually getting in a committed relationship. Second, building something completely by yourself and trying to sell it, even if you sell it to just 10 people, but trying to sell it. Third one, solitude and a spiritual journey, actually going out somewhere, actually moving a little bit away from your home and going to a little bit secluded place, or a place that you don't know, or kind of going in the hills, or kind of going to a lot of people take this meditation courses, retreat courses, something like that, right? And another thing is witnessing a death. A lot of people, like when growing up, we don't understand what death really means. We all know that we are here only for some time, but in our head, it's not really clear what death really means because we have never really processed it. And the 5th one is getting into a fight. Let me explain all of these a little bit in detail. The first one, let's talk about the first one, falling in love. Before you fall in love with someone, before you fall in love with a girl, or with a hobby, or with a musical instrument, or with a passion, and it can be anything, right? Before you fall in love with something, what happens is most of your attention, most of your intent is directed towards yourself, right? You're very self-centered, you're very selfish. But once you start to love somebody or something deeply, you will notice that most of your energy, most of your attention is going to be directed towards that person. Most of that, intention, goodwill, emotions are going to be directed towards the person that you love so much, right? And it helps you disconnect from yourself and actually care about somebody else more than you, right? So it kind of, in a way, it helps you transcend from yourself, right? You are becoming different from yourself. You are transcending from self-focus. This is something that even if that relationship does not last, even if, like whether it goes very well, whether it doesn't go very well, whether you are meant to be, whether you're not meant to be, that's completely, like, that's a second question. That comes later. But right now, if you are in your 20s, you should try to find somebody that you like, and you should try to get into a relationship, attract that person, get into a relationship, be committed, be exclusive, and actually love that person. Let's talk about the second thing, building something totally by yourself and selling it. When you build something completely by your own hands, or by your own imagination, by your own creativity, and when you sell it, even if it is 10, 20, 30 people, it doesn't matter. But what this gives you is, this gives you a confidence that, my thoughts are valuable. If I really work on this, if I really pay attention to what I'm doing right now, I can actually build something amazing and sell it to the rest of the world. So this also builds a spirit of entrepreneurship in your mind, in your heart, right? This helps you kind of, this ignites the fire within you, that you can create things, you can do creative work. So if you are into, like, for example, if you're like me, if you're into marketing, advertising, entrepreneurship, then this is going to be very, very vital for you. If you want to do something on your own later in life, this is going to be very, very vital. Let's talk about a little bit about the third point, solitude and spiritual or philosophical quest. When we are born, when we are young, we are kind of in a cradle. We are kind of cuddled by mom and dad. They take care of everything. We are like living in heaven. Like anything that we demand, it's completely fulfilled. Anything that we need is automatically, it automatically appears in our life. We don't understand the depth behind certain things. We don't understand the depth of human experience. We start to become very superficial, right? When you become a teenager, when you know are in your teens, you are very, yeah, so the first thing you will realize that you are very horny, right? You are going to have a lot of energy, you are going to have a lot of aggression, right? You are in a very, you can say that kind of a animalistic phase at that time. Like you really want to chase status, you are getting into trouble a lot, you are becoming very rebellious, all of these things. You will see your hormones going crazy all the time. So you're not in control of yourself, right? And your mind will not give you enough time or enough space to actually think deeply about stuff, about what things mean, right? Like what it means to be somebody's friend. Like we all know that, hey, we like each other, we are hanging out with each other, so we are friends. But what it actually means to be somebody's friend, right? Like how far are you going to take your friendship? Like, is your friend more important than your brother? What does it mean to have a brother or a sister? What does it mean to, have a goal? What does it mean? You have to, you at that time when you are young, you can't think about these things. But as you grow old, as you are, arrive in your 20s, early 20s, mid 20s, then you start to realize that, what, things actually have meaning, right? In marketing, in business, you might heard about this thing that create awareness. What is awareness, right? What is awareness? So you have to understand, like, superficially, you can explain anything away. It's very easy to explain things on superficial. Like awareness is what when people know me, right? Awareness is when people think about me. Okay, I understand that awareness, but what kind of awareness are you creating? Are people thinking about you from the place of, oh my god, this brand or this logo is fucking everywhere, what the hell is wrong with this, I'm so annoyed? Or are they thinking about your awareness from a place of, oh, last time I bought this brand, you know what, I'm never gonna do business with this brand again, I'm never gonna buy this brand again, I'm gonna tell all my friends never to buy this again? Or is your awareness positive, like, wow, finally the brand that I like is getting a lot of recognition? So what is awareness? Like what is friendship? What is love? Like when you're in love with somebody, are you like a servant to them, or are you there to just consume them, like physically, romantically, erotically, emotionally? Or are you like each other's partners? Or what is the meaning of being in a relationship? What is a relationship? So when you go for the first time, when you detach yourself from the day-to-day life, from your regular family, from the regular society, right? And you go away. I'm not saying like run away, I'm just saying make a systematic plan, make a good plan, right? When you go somewhere for like a week, 10 days, 15 days, and when you're away from your phone, when you're away from the internet, when you're away from people, when you're away from your family drama, when you're away from day to day, going out in the street, going to the clubs, meeting your friends, because all this time, like wherever you go, you're going to be bombarded by advertisements, you're going to be bombarded by this, that. You will not get that kind of solitude. But when you go somewhere, let's say you switch off your phone, you buy a very simple phone, and you go for 15 days, on some trip where nobody knows you, right? Maybe you're just going with your friend, and you try to spend a lot of time by yourself. You try to spend a lot of time in solitude, not doing anything, just sitting, just looking outside the window, just walking, right? Not doing anything, not listening to songs, not reading books, not writing anything, just existing, right? Just existing in the purest natural form that you are meant to exist, that you are supposed to exist in, right? You're not consuming anything. There is no electricity. Sorry, there is no internet. There are no phones, right? If there is an emergency, then somebody can call you on the small phone that you've got. But apart from that, there is really no entertainment. You just sit there with your legs half submerged in the river or the water, and just sit and stare. Just listen to the sound of trees. Just listen to the sound of birds. Think about things. Think about what does this mean, right? Think about the fact that there was a time when you loved somebody. There was a time when you really liked your brother or your sister, but something happened. Maybe, a bad day, a bad incident, a bad accident. They made a mistake, or maybe you made a mistake, and it created a friction between you two. Now you have stopped talking. Think about this, that 20 years have passed so quickly, right? Another 20 years are going to pass by even more quicker than this. Then another 20 years are going to pass by even more quicker than this. And at that time, what you're going to do? This life will be taken away from you. What you're going to do? A lot of people, it happens with a lot of people, right? Bad accidents happen. Like somebody's at work and they're having a great day, they're having their amazing lunch, they're having meeting with bosses, and they're trying to get for promotion, everything. But when they come home, they see that there was an explosion, or there was some accident and the home is on fire and everybody inside the home has died. Apart from that, when that happens, life forces you to realize that this was the actual life that you wanted to live, that you were supposed to be living, right? You're not supposed to be living for your office. Work should be in service of life. Life should not be in service of your job or your work or your business, whatever it is, right? We live to live. We live to enjoy life, to get pleasure, right? To fall in love, to have sex, to eat good food, to take vacations, to listen to music, to look at art, to listen to stories. This is the reason that we exist, right? We are not a computer program that our sole function is just to justify our productivity. No. So when you kind of detach yourself from this, you are going to get a bird's eye perspective, or you can say super perspective on your problems, on your day-to-day life, on your relationships, on what you think you are, who you think you are, why are you pursuing these goals, what will happen if these things don't work out, how are you going to cope with failure, how are you going to cope with loss of people, right? Moving on to the next point, witnessing somebody's death. Naturally, this is going to happen if you are if you're growing up. Eventually this is going to happen. Death is a part of life, but I think that a lot of people kind of avoid this. A lot of people kind of want to look away from this. The most important part of life, like life and death, right? If you're never born, you can never die, and if people are never dying, new people are not going to be born. People need to go away, right? There is a time period, yes, fine, enjoy life for 70, 80, 100 years. After that, go. You're not going to get better. You're just going to be, and I'm not saying this from a place of resentment or from a place of anger, just from a place of it is natural, right? That the thing is our civilization, our species, any kind of animal, any kind of evolution happens because of this, right? Any kind of evolution happens generation after generation. We are building upon the previous generations, right? We are taking the previous generation, what they have taught, and they have tried their best to create a good world for us, and now we are taking it and trying to create a better world for the generation who is going to come after us. So it is already implied in this question that the generation that is going to come after us, after we are gone from here, right? It is already implied in this statement. So witnessing somebody's death and not turning a blind eye to that, actually thinking there is a person who was directly or indirectly a close part of my life, important part of my life. Now that person is no longer with me. Now that person is no longer alive. Now that person cannot fight with me, and I cannot fight with that person. That person is never going to tell me a story again or a joke again. like there is nothing I can do to get that person back. And that person is most probably, is going to become dust. Right? That person is most probably, that person that died would be somebody's first love, would be somebody's, for some people, somebody on this earth, he would be the most important person. He would have a family, he would have a wife that loved him or her, right? A partner that loved him or her. He would have friends who would have made plans for the next year. Like, what's going to happen to all of this, right? When you ask these questions, then you understand what actually death means. What is the meaning of death? And the final thing is getting into a fight. If you're a guy, I think at some point of time you are going to get in a fight, and that's completely fine, right? Even if you get like punched in the face and break your nose and go back home, it's a good thing. Even if you punch back and break somebody else's nose, or if you get humiliated or somebody else humiliates you, that's a good thing. At least you took a punch on your face. That so just a story from my childhood. I used to be a very mischievous guy. I used to get into a lot of fights. Like, I just needed an excuse to fight people, right? Fight other boys, and I would make friends with other people, and just for the sake of getting more leads of fighting. And I'm like, hey bro, if there is a fight, then call me. Okay, I'm gonna come and I'm gonna fight with you. I'm gonna fight for you. Fighting is an integral part of our life. Obviously, like when somebody punches you, it hurts, right? And you know that you can get punched again. But if you stand up and decide to punch that person back, it's not only about that fight, but it also teaches you a lesson, right? It also teaches you a lesson that someday life is going to punch you. Someday life is going to threaten you. Someday life might threaten you, and you might be at a risk of losing everything that you ever loved. These things will happen to you one day or the other. But the important part is, how are you going to respond? What are you going to do about this? Are you going to stand up and fight, or are you going to cry and give up? Are you going to run back to your mom and dad, right, and tell them that, hey, you know what, life is very hard now, I don't want to fight this fight, I'm done with this, I'm gonna get home, I just want peace and comfort and safety. A lot of people have never gotten into a fight, so when life throws punches at them, instead of taking it, instead of trying to dodge it and actually fight back, they give up, right? Learning to wrestle with life, learning to go a little bit toe to toe with life is absolutely important for your mental health, for your peace, for your soul, for your relationships, for your character, for your personality. It will give you a lot of stories to tell to other people. It will make you a good leader in future. It will make you somebody that other people can depend on. It will make you, most importantly, somebody that you can depend on, right? Because there is going to be a time when your mom and dad are not going to be around, when your older brother is not going to be around, when you are going to have to deal with your life all by yourself. There is going to be a time when you will be in need, but nobody is going to come to save you. What are you going to do then? These things are going to happen to you, okay? All these events, all these accidents will happen at one time or the other. So now what are you going to do? Asking all these things and not avoiding all these things, actually genuinely living your life, going through the motions, it's okay, good or bad experience, that's completely fine. It happens to everybody, right? Don't get discouraged. If you fall down, then stand up, keep walking again. Nobody's perfect. Everybody is stumbling. Everybody is falling here and there. It's just that you can't see it. You can't see it when a millionaire cries in his bed all night, right? Because he is not able to see his family since last 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years, right? You don't see, like, when top athletes, when actors, stars, they can't go out in the world. Anywhere they go, there are going to be other people jumping on them. They can't meet their friends anymore because most of their friends are going to, either become a leech or a greedy asshole, They're going to be like, hey, can you give me this much money? Hey, can you invest in this startup? Other, like, it's very hard for them to find other people who are actually just normal people to them and not treat them like celebrities and stars. So you don't know what is happening to anybody else, right? And in this situation we might think that, okay, we are in the worst shape. Why is this happening to me? Why do bad things happen to me? You will ask these questions, and it's natural. So be strong, right? Fall in love, fight a couple of times, fight a couple of boys, be a little bit rebellious, go for a spiritual journey or a philosophical journey. Understand what things mean, understand what death means, actually care for somebody, do all these things, create something, try to sell it, do all these things. These things are going to be extremely important for your personal development and your maturity. I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye bye.